Do you really want to get to the top of your career in the shortest possible time? Then be reliable. You see, reliable people can always be trusted to follow through on whatever assignment has been entrusted to them. And I'll tell you one little secret. Your boss is looking for a reliable subordinate who can be trusted to follow through on an instruction without being followed up to deliver on that assignment. There's this little thing I call the acid test of reliability. And your test of reliability is really just in the measure of peace that your boss experiences after passing on an instruction to you. It is the confident assurance that your boss has about your ability to follow through and deliver without being followed up on. So, I want you to always remember, no boss wants to hear excuses about why you couldn't deliver on your assignment, even if those excuses are real and true. In fact, what every boss wants to know is that you delivered on the assignment, and then they might be interested in listening to hear how you overcame hurdles to deliver the results. So, nothing pleases your boss more than to hear you say, "Don't worry, it's in good hands," or "Consider it done," or better still, "It's already been taken care of." So I'll tell you one little story about a gentleman who used to drive me several years ago. His name was Mr. Sunday. And Mr. Sunday was one of the most skilled drivers I have ever worked with. In fact, Mr. Sunday was an amazing guy with amazing driving skills. He knew the streets of Lagos like the back of his hand, and he was always very cheerful and a happy man to be with. But unfortunately, he had just one flaw. Mr. Sunday had very poor work ethics. He had the habit of not just showing up for work and also coming up with the most absurd reasons. Like one day he said his father was arrested by his brother-in-law. I mean, with Mr. Sunday, it was always one excuse after the other. And he never seemed to run out of fresh excuses. Most mornings, I would wake up wondering if Mr. Sunday will show up for work, and more importantly, which excuse he would have for that day. In most cases, I'd have to drive myself to work when he didn't show up. In fact, for the few weeks, and I say few weeks that he was with me, I would have to drive myself to work at least once every week. And on the days that Mr. Sunday showed up for work and drove me to meetings, he will never miss an opportunity to go and find something to eat somewhere near wherever we went to as soon as he parked the car. In fact, several times I would have the most unpleasant experience of standing in the sun, sometimes with my clients, as we waited for the client's security guards to go and help fish out Mr. Sunday from the nearest eating joint. He would later return very apologetic and full of smiles to expertly chauffeur me to my next destination. But, as you can imagine, it didn't take long before Mr. Sunday was fired, in spite of his expert driving skills and his happy face, simply because he wasn't reliable. Let me put it this way. If you want top ratings with your boss, please don't call in sick often. In fact, every time you call in sick, not only does the organization lose productivity for that day, they also lose confidence in your ability to be productive, whilst you lose the confidence of your boss. And one of the first signs that your boss no longer thinks you are reliable is that you begin to get fewer assignments and responsibilities because your boss will start asking other people to do the things you normally would have been told to do. Initially, this may feel quite great, as you may not seem to be loaded with as much work as usual. But beware. The implication is that you are now creating less value within the organization, whilst your pay remains the same. Therefore, you are no longer a great investment, but instead, you have become a prime candidate for replacement, or should I even say, displacement. So, the idea here is really quite simple. Being reliable will get you to the top of your career ladder, while being unreliable will eventually get you off the ladder. So there's only really one option to get to the top of your career in the shortest possible time. Be reliable.